Welcome to 155, a podcast about punk songs. I'm Josiah Hughes.
And I'm Sam Sutherland. And this week, we are talking about Straight Edge by Minor Threat.
That's a interesting...
Josiah, why are we talking about this punk hardcore classic today?
Well, because we're celebrating Dry X, January X, and I am going to say it like that every time. But
when you first discovered the ability to put X's into words to make them punker, when you were 15, you did it with everything, right? Because I know I did.
I did. No, I never really did. I mean, maybe in my doodles. Maybe I feel like in a doodle.
Because even you just saying that out loud makes me feel like I'm in university again, honestly.
Well,
my dodgeball team had a lot of X's in its name, you know?
Here's the thing. I think MXPX is probably the first time I learned about it because they're technically called Magnified Plaid, and they added the X's to make themselves more punk, I guess. They're
more
definitely
edge.
not. They're definitely not straight.
Edge?
No, I mean they're like the ultimate microbrew kind of band. So I don't think they're straight edge, but
aren't microbrews kind of straight edge now?
Yeah, I get. I mean, look, before we get into Dry X, January X, first I got to shout out the band Split Hairs.
Yes.
That was their final theme song for us. They spent an entire year creating a new theme song every single week.
Which is astonishing. I know every time we talked about it, we were like, no one talks. We don't. And we probably did talk about it a little bit, but we should have talked about it more.
Yeah, I agree. But, I mean, now we're talking about it for the last time.
This is our last opportunity to talk.
Yeah.
You and I.
That's right. No, because I think that was kind of last year's vibe was just a complete disaster explosion of content from people. And I feel like maybe we're going to go back to basics with as you can see this watch together.
Just
I have
a
prepared.
Complete disaster now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's it.
It's more of a contained
It's not a content explosion from
explosion.
everyone. Only Josiah may explode now.
Yeah, exactly. I was sick of not having enough explosions, and I want you all to listen to me make myself explode once a week. So that's what we're going to do.
That is the true essence of this podcast. It's a vibe-based show where you hear Josiah make himself explode.
Yeah, but that's the thing is I was thinking, are we going to be interrogating straight edge this month? Are we going to be teaching people about it or learning about it? Probably not. We're just going to be chilling and vibing on the idea.
We're going to vibe our way through the concept of straight edge.
Yeah, just a little bit, really. I don't know. I mean, I think we're just going to goof around probably. Because I feel like talking about straight edge feels like it's very loaded and you need to be very smart to sort of do the tight wire walk between being a really...
You have to be smart to talk about a community that was accidentally made up by a song in the 80s. But
you do though, because
go off.
Because a lot of straight edge is really stupid, really, really overly, scarily clean cut and well laundered white guys being like, I ain't no fucking junkie, and I don't want to be like that. But I also think that it's possible to be straight edge and be smart and harm reductionist about it and that kind of stuff. But I don't want to do that. I just want to say that I think Letterman jackets are cool and that I like.
You just wanted to wear that swatch. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's really. I think ultimately, sure, this song started straight edge, but ultimately, I think it was started by the Swatch and also my
Swatch Co.
I used to live with a straight edge guy. Shout out Today's Man, and he had the straight edge license plate holder, it said True Till Death around his BC license. I'm not doxing. I don't remember his license plate number, but it wasn't.
Right, give us all the info.
There must be
let's find this car.
Straight edge vanity plates out there. Hey, that's pretty cool.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, Till Death.
But Sam, before we get into the episode, it's a new year. We're going to be doing some new seggies, which is what I'm calling segments right now. I'm probably not going to stick with that. I hope.
I think, unfortunately, already. Because you've said it, so it is written. Yeah, we got some seggies going on.
We got some seggies. So let's do our first seggy. We've got a theme song for the seggy from our own DRMC. Shout out to DRMC. Thank you for this. This segment is called Punk News. Here we go. Punk News, P-U-N-K-N-E-W-S. It's been so long. That's the Punk News theme song.
Fuck yes.
Segment Punk News. I think we did come up with the term punk news, and that's
it's a portmanteau of punk and news for people who don't get it.
So is it portmanteau or portmanteau? I mean, I thought we would just keep sort of breezing by it, but we seem to say it every week now.
We find an excuse. I'm going to go ahead and say I think you're right, and I think I'm wrong, but I'm not confident.
That sounds about right.
So I'll pretend that I'm saying it wrong on purpose in like a funny, charming way.
That sounds right in general. That I'm right and you're wrong. Do you want to go first or should I go first? So this punk news is basically we're going to talk about things in the news that are punk.
Yeah, I can go first. This week in the punk news, I wanted to highlight, the day that Josiah and I are recording this is actually the 26th birthday for renowned punk Florence Pug. How do you pronounce her last name?
Florence Pugga. She's named after Players Unknown Battlegrounds, I think.
Yeah, exactly. So big time gamer, big gamer.
You're talking about Zach Braff's. You're talking about Mrs. Braff, basically.
I'm talking about Lady Scrubs herself. Now Florence Pugga has been in the punk news previously.
Punk news. Yeah.
Yeah. She I think chopped off her hair and dyed it blonde, a move that Yahoo Movies referred to as 100% punk in their headline about it.
Oh my God. Congratulations, Florence, for your new punk look.
Yeah, so like she's, and of course Yahoo News was not the only one to deem this a new punk style for her. When myimperfectlife.com wrote about it, their headline was, of course, Florence Pugga stuns with another hair transformation. The subhead was everyone, and of course you and I were part of this group, everyone is obsessed with Florence Pugga's punk rock pixie.
And I want everyone to think back. So when was that article from?
This all was in the news December 15th.
December 15th.
A big day for punk history.
So if you think back to December 15th, because it said everyone was obsessed with her hair. Like, did you notice, everyone listening, did you notice that maybe you've kind of felt a bit weird that day and you didn't really know why and you just couldn't stop? And then maybe now that you know who Florence Pug is, maybe that's why you felt
that's
that
what it was.
way,
Well, I was getting sort of
obsession.
intrusive thoughts. Like according to this headline, everyone was obsessed with it, and it was, and I didn't know how to not think about it. I have to agree with My Imperfect Life. This is truly punk rock at its chicest. So this was a big deal for me as a punk. I know this was a big deal for you as a punk also.
Absolutely. One more quick Poog fact is that she was in that movie Fighting with My Family, directed by Stephen Merchant, which is kind of like
Stephen Merchant directed. Now, because I was going to be like, should I watch that? Because I think I saw a trailer for it at some point and was a little charmed by it.
It was it was okay. I saw it at Sundance, and The Rock, who's in it, was at the screening. So I was basically hanging out with The Rock. But the other person who was there, so she plays a wrestler named, I don't remember, Tina the wrestler or something. What's her name again? Let me see here. Should probably figure this out so that none of because wrestling people, if you make them mad, they never shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I feel like I'm still paying for a call. Oh, right. I don't know. Yeah.
She plays someone named Paige, and in real life, Paige was, I don't know if she still is, dating Ronnie Radke.
Oh, wow. That's a little bit of unwelcome punk credibility.
And so the interesting thing about that is that she was dating Ronnie Radke, and of course, Florence Pugg played her in the movie. So therefore, I mean, I think I've talked about this before, but I saw Zach Braff and Ronnie Radke like kind of making small talk at the premiere of Fighting with My Family. So that's kind of cool.
Up.
My punk news this week comes from.
Wait, hold on. I didn't. My punk news wasn't about a haircut from 2 weeks ago. Please,
I thought it was. Oh, I'm so sorry.
I got to finish doing my pug news update now, which is that today, the day you and I are recording, is noted punk Florence Pugga's 26th birthday. Mm-hmm. And according to, she posted a Luke. She was serving a Luke on her Instagram, which included very chunky sneakers that Nylon has deemed extremely punk. This is, of course, continuing.
They're not just any chunky sneakers. They're Miu Miu sneakers, so they're fucking pretty expensive. I think $1,000 sneakers. I mean, look, if you've saved money on all those DIY records, you could afford them. I think.
Yeah, that's true. And so Nylon, of course, maybe the most legitimate organization here is sort of referring to her current fashion style as new punk inspired takes. And so I just want to tip my punk cap to Florence Pucka.
Happy birthday, Florence, and I hope you and Zach and Ronnie Radke, did something and just avoid all the cancellations swirling around all those men and just keep chilling.
Yeah, that's a really
dancing
through the raindrops there, right?
Pretty punk to be hanging out with those guys.
That's the thing. Hanging with people being canceled for misadventure, extremely punk. So.
Wow, that's such a good punk news. Well, mine comes from...
What's your punk news, Josiah?
Mine comes from the website playbill.com.
Now unfortunate what's happening, in the world of the theater these days.
Yeah, like, you mean Lin-Manuel Miranda? Or
yeah, exactly. I'm referring, of course, to the rampant popularization of Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Well, they've set the cast for Punk Rock Girl, which is coming from Joe Iconis and Rob Rokicki. These two punkers, as you can see on Playbill, are extremely punk-looking guys, and they're going to be premiering Punk Rock Girl at Long Island's Argyle Theater, which in and of itself, Argyle is a very punk kind of name.
Style? What would you call Argyle? Is a pattern? Is that what Argyle is? It's a punk pattern, would you say?
Yeah.
How do you define Argyle?
A tartan? Is it a tartan? Probably not. No,
Argyle's it's a pattern, I guess. Okay. So it's a punk pattern.
It's a punk pattern. So Punk Rock Girl is a new musical featuring songs written and made famous by female artists and female-fronted bands.
Oh my God! So it's like a jukebox musical.
I guess these guys didn't get
the
memo
Mamma Mia
that
of punk.
Female-fronted is not a genre, guys. Come on, do better.
Damn. Maybe they should listen to the Punk Rock MBA.
Yeah, although you know what?
Or wait, not listen to him? I can't really remember.
I don't know. I think he's pretty cool. I think for Edge Month, we can all admit that the Punk Rock MBA is pretty dope.
we could not determine if he is straight edge or just looks straight edge, though. So
no, in my Googles earlier, he was popping up a little bit. I'm trying to find. I actually had a better article about Punk Rock Girl, but I actually went a little bit too deep on my Googling. Here we go. No, this is not it.
Have there been any trailers or anything for this?
There's no trailer.
We have to get to the Argyle Theater for January 20th. I got to say, that might be at risk at this point.
I know. So, I searched punk in Google News, and...
That's definitely going to be how we do our research here, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so the cast that they've set... First of all, you're right, it's a jukebox musical. It features the music of noted punks Blondie, Pat Benatar, Avril Lavigne, Joan Jett, Pink, Gwen Stefani, and more. And it's I'll tell you the story in a second because I think that's the funniest part. But the cast includes Philippe Arroyo from Broadway's Aladdin, Kayla Katan. Oh my God! Please tell me that you're related to Chris Kattan. No, that's not how he spells it, is it? That's the
no, I don't think so.
Kayla Katan is related to the settlers of Catan, I think. Yeah.
You know what? This is the problem: is nepotism in punk musicals.
Exactly.
Of course, Kayla Katan. Oh well, her parents settled the entire world of Catan. Anyway.
Seth Elizer, Jalen Evans. For some reason, I just feel like I need to read all these. Kaylin G. Gallimore, Ashley Lalonde from the Lincoln Center's The Black Crown, Lauren Marcus, Broadway's Be More Chill. We're going to talk about that in a second. Jackson Matek, Jordan Lee McCaskill, Kelly McIntyre, who is from the national tour of A Night with Janis Joplin. Hell yeah. Natalie Powers, Michaela Rada, Brooke Shapiro, regional performance of Hairspray, and Brad Weatherford. So shout out to all of them. Now, the plot of Punk Rock Girl is about 16-year-old Angela Quivers is a perfectionist who never takes chances and feels like there's no place where she belongs until she meets Proxy, a teenager who pulls her into a world of grungy guitars, shocking secrets, and big, loud, messy emotions. A musical about a young person finding a community and creating her tribe. Punk Rock Girl is a noisy celebration of all things raw and ragged, trashy and heartfelt, familiar and alien.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah, unfortunately, there's nothing from this musical, but Joe Iconis, who is a Tony-nominated composer from Long Island, he's known for Broadway's Be More Chill, of which also they share an actor with this one. So I found a full recording of Be More Chill, and for some reason when I looked it up on YouTube, I had already played like 10 minutes of it before, and then I just remembered that like somewhere in the last
you're
year,
a big Be More Chill head.
We've played this on Globe Hell once, but I don't know why. I have no idea why, but
I love.
So this is Be More Chill, the musical.
Instead of
I look forward to someone telling us.
We'll be fleeing from zombies. But don't
It
you
looks
care
really
about
annoying.
Shakespeare? The man is dead. Let it go.
So I think there's some songs in here.
It's better if you just comply.
Yes.
My job's to color your aesthetic and make you seem much less pathetic. So just step and fetch. Don't ask me why. Pick the.
I'm just
Which
trying to-
means the house is empty. So done. Oh yeah. Never hung with a girl like you before.
So it's just kind of like really painfully
It's
cringy.
really uncomfortable.
Yeah,
I'll
so-
watch all 2 hours of this. I want to see. Are there punks though? I mean, it looks like.
Yeah, I
there's
feel like
people
there's
dressed
at least
in
some
all black.
emos in here, probably.
Okay.
I don't really know what Be More
Well,
Chill
I guess
is
do
about.
we consider emos to be punks?
School. I mean, that's a debate for another time, I think. But so that was punk news. Let me just play a little bit more of that theme to close us out. Sam, straight edge. What? I mean,
What is it?
yeah. I don't want to even really want to do that very much. And I think the
No.
song will help us with that. But
The song will lay it out pretty clearly.
I feel like you said that you were straight edge in high school. Is that true?
Yeah, so when I was in grade 8, I was filled with anxiety about going to high school, and I was watching an episode of Jonovision, a show that we've discussed at length. Of course, basically a teen talk show on the CBC hosted by Jonathan Torrance, better known to some of our international listeners, potentially as J-Rock from Trailer Park Boys. And I don't have any idea what the subject of the episode was, but, oftentimes it was like a panel kind of talk show discussion when they weren't having sick bands play Johnapalooza. And they had these two guys there who were straight edge, and they were like talking about being straight edge on this, 5 o'clock CBC teen talk show. And I was like, oh, that rocks. And in retrospect, I part of the reason that I thought it rocked is that I was like riddled with terror over like what was going to happen to me in high school, because I like the idea of drinking filled me with anxiety, the idea of someone passing me a joint filled me with anxiety, the idea of trying to like really engage with girls filled me with anxiety. And so I was like, I'm going to be straight edge. And I literally like had a conversation with my mom in the kitchen. I remember being like, hey, there's this thing. And I'm that. That's what I'm doing. And so I was quote unquote straight edge. And like, the Minor Threat discography was one of the CDs that like never left my high school CD binder. I didn't listen to any other straight edge bands, but like I loved Minor Threat, and I abstained from drugs and alcohol until I was like probably 19 or 20, at which point I deeply stained them. But it was like a really important part of my high school experience. It wasn't like a community I was part of or anything like that, because there were not a lot of other straight edge punks at the Etobicoke School of the Arts. But
so you were in a performing arts school listening to Minor Threat on a CDR and saying that you were straight edge.
yeah, because like
That's
also
so sick.
that high school was like because it was like kids who were artistic, and because it was there was kids there who were the children of artists, because who else would allow their teenager to attend a performing arts high school but a playwright? There was a lot of it was a pretty heavy drug use school.
Right.
And so it was like a really, to me, a very important, flag, and recognizing that I didn't love a lot of the other like straight edge music that I had heard, and that I didn't like hang out with other quote unquote straight edge people. Like I had a few other friends that like didn't drink, but they were like, I just like listening to, Ben Folds 5. Like I'm not going to claim this dumb thing? Why don't you just say you don't drink?
You were saying everyone was like, you basically were doing it because you wanted to stand. You were kind of being like, why be normal? In your school, the normal was being a cool drug guy, art
Yeah,
guy.
exactly. And I was like too unique for it. But it was a really helpful way of, in the same way that I think having any sort of rules, like if you're religious or it sort of almost makes the decisions for you, and then you're not constantly like reevaluating if you're at a party. Like I just didn't want to drink. I didn't want to get drunk. I didn't want to smoke weed. I didn't want to drop LSD in the ravine behind our high school. Like I was just not interested. And so it felt very funny to kind of shed it at the exact time that I think a lot of people do. You know, a lot of straight edge teens in the world. And of course, if you're not now, you never were. That's fine. And I certainly wouldn't claim it now without a massive amount of, like, when I was like, oh yeah, I used to be straight edge. I'm like, well,
So wait, did you X up though? I don't know if that is that.
No, I didn't X up. I mean, I would get X'd up at shows because I was underage, but I didn't X up to like go to school.
That never happened like in real life for me. The only place that was mixed drinking and all ages was Messaluna, which was like a restaurant and actually that's a good plug. We're going to keep doing the I Was There theme behind the paywall, patreon.com/155pod. But in that one I talked about Messaluna, but that was the only time where you had to like demarcate that you were underage. So drink, but it wasn't an X.
All the all ages shows, most of the all ages shows, like in Toronto, because we didn't really have any like super dedicated, like outside of like the JCC and stuff. Like a lot of those shows, especially with touring bands, they were all happening at the Big Bop, and that was like a normal bar where they served a lot of people who were underage. But yeah, you got X'd up at the door. So I mean, anytime I was at a show, I was X'd up, but like I made a bald man do it for me. Sick. And so that's me. And so I don't know this about you because you obviously are straight edge. But were you straight edge before, and did you lose your way and rejoin the flock?
No, I always thought it was like, I mean, obviously, when I was a teenager, I wasn't straight edge, and I would always like have some beers every once in a while with my friends or with my dad even. And then I like when I got into like hardcore, I always thought it was funny, and I didn't take it seriously, but I would see like the band Burden, who are a really famous straight edge hardcore band from Vancouver. I saw them a few times, and I don't know. I remember like accidentally going to a straight edge like fest at the Java Joint in Surrey and feeling like I was going to get beat up I just didn't really get it, and it seemed like scary and foreign. And then as I got older, it seemed funnier and funnier and funnier, to the point where now obviously I love it because something can become so funny that I just have no choice but to stand, so to
dedicate
speak.
your life to it. Yeah. Did you, when you stopped drinking, did you ever think of like only identifying as being sober as opposed to like getting the swatch and identifying as being edge?
For some reason the word sober to me felt so like loaded, like more than straight edge for some reason.
Yeah, I
don't
that.
know why. It just seemed like I'm like realizing that I have a problem with drinking. It's like I don't know. It just seemed to me, for me personally, the word sober felt so loaded, and then straight edge was kind of like a fun way to play with it. I don't think I would like actually ever X up, and like probably would never talk to a person in real life about straight edge or take it seriously as a thing. But I love merch, and I love
right.
Iconography.
It's really just nothing if not merch.
Yeah,
and
there's
iconography.
like exactly. So like there's just so much about it. I mean, just loving subcultures too. It's so interesting and cool, but it is pretty funny when it becomes like a religion for people too. But it's kind of sick also. I don't know. It's just like there's so many different kinds of straight edge people. It seems like there's like the people, there's like Twitter straight edge people who all seem like they get a new fade every day, and they're like showering like 7 times a day and just always laundering their merch. And I don't know, they just seem so clean cut, and like they probably like there's just something that doesn't seem punk about that at all. But I also respect to that too. But it's like that's like I don't know, like Hot Topic managers maybe are like that, but they would never set like people, or the people who work at Hot Topic corporate office, or like graphic designers, or I don't know, like maybe yuppie straight edge is a thing.
Yeah, that
and then there's
I think quite goofy. Like when you just look at like Toby Morse or whatever, is sort of who I conjure in my mind when you describe that.
Yeah, but I'm saying even cleaner cut than that, where you're like, I don't even know if you have ever heard a punk band before. But, like,
Impossibly clean cut.
yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think it's a very touchy subject, and no judgment to people who choose to partake or like, you know, are on the path of struggling with that or anything like that. Like, yeah, I definitely think it's oversimplified, but I also think there's something on the flip side that's very special about just like not participating in any of that culture and instead doing a goofball podcast that's vibe based.
That part is definitely sick. I think some of my favorite type of straight edge person is like someone who is not actively like seemingly not like in a punk community, but just sort of like it was their thing and it's worked for them. Like I specifically think of dudes like Chris Murphy from Sloan, who is straight edge. Not that I think he'd probably just say he doesn't drink, but I feel like I've heard him say that he's straight edge before. Like George Stroumboulopoulos, you know, the only Canadian broadcaster besides Alan Cross, you know, straight edge. And I think that shit rocks. Especially because if you're
Donald Trump too.
Donald Trump, yeah, that's right. Just he's got that Diet Coke edge. You know, especially, you know, and for me, and I think maybe it's sort of safe to say with other people, like there was just a real, like important, sort of like having the Minor Threat discography. And it's funny because I remember like kind of passing this down to my sister, who I think shared a lot of my same anxieties and similarly like did not imbibe or consume sort of through and sort of for a while after high school, is like the Minor Threat discography as this kind of totem of like the sort of like weird rage that you felt when you like, you know, like I remember the first band I was in grade 9, like none of us drank or smoked. And then like the other two guys got so into weed, and because they got into weed, they got so into Ben Harper, and it fucking sucked because like Ben Harper is boring. And
maybe Ben Harper is sick now. I wonder.
Well, but when I was in grade 9, Ben Harper was less sick, and it like led to the breakup of the band I was in because I was like, I just don't want to like sit by the ravine and like smoke weed and like play a bongo drum while you guys play acoustic guitars. Like that sucks.
Well, it's funny that you say that because I mean that's what much of my 30s and late 20s have been like too. As people become more and more invested in weed culture, I'm just like, this fucking sucks. I don't want to hang out with you. I just want to like go on Twitter instead. That's my drug.
Your drug is posts.
Yeah.
But I think that's the thing, is like having these, you know, in the same way that I do think that, you know, like religion provides like a handy guide. The idea of like a very angry Bible, which was the Minor Threat complete discography, and this thing that like you could pass down to people. Like I remember like talking to my sister, and she was like bummed out and like had a really bad time at a party, and all her friends were getting fucked up, and she wasn't into it. And I was like, here, this is what you need. And this shit works, man, because it's like any of this music that you and I have been talking about. It's a way of making yourself feel a little less alone. And so I think that part of straight edge has tremendous value. I think the like goofy stuff is great also. But to me, the essence of like, you know, feeling less alone in opposition to just like the casual culture of consumption that defines like almost every community, right?
Yeah. I mean, also it helps that this song in particular just absolutely fucking cooks. Like it's just
the first
incredible.
Like, 6 songs on the Minor Threat complete discography CD, which again, I think like I'm sure there are people who like experience this in another way, but I kind of feel like mostly for our generation that was it. Are like honest.
You're supposed to pretend you had like the original pressing.
That's what I mean. Oh, fuck that! I bought this fucking CD for $30 or whatever at the HMV at Sherway Gardens, and it defined 5 years of my life. And it is like basically unstoppable for the first 5 songs, and then it's like great, you know. But it's those first 5 songs are like absolutely fucking perfect.
Well, let's listen to the demo a little bit of it. It's just such a sick riff too. Like it's
and just the idea that like Ian's like it's a perfect riff, and the way that like he just seems so mad about people doing drugs. He's like, I don't want it. I'm not interested. Like there's it's the most like Ian delivery I feel like in the entire Myers discography, which is like kind of out of breath because he's so mad about people doing Quaaludes.
Yeah,
which I feel like we were lied to about Quaaludes. They actually, once I saw Wolf of Wall Street, I was like, wait, they're fun.
Yeah, you're one of these guys who thinks Wolf of Wall Street was more like instructional on
Yeah,
how to live a good life.
Just bros having a sick time.
Yeah, in this song, his delivery is very like punk documentary rather than like punk sound. Like, because I feel like Ian MacKaye has been around in our lives so much with, of course, the Foos, his other band, and whatever the fuck he's doing now, Corky. I don't know what that is, but it seems like
it's pretty good actually.
It seems like some old people Ian MacKaye shit, but he's been around for so long that you're used to his delivery. But this sounds like an entire different world where it's like I feel like young punk bands couldn't even replicate this delivery very well because there's something uncanny about it where it's like he sounds like a rambling old man.
Yeah,
something I've always been confused by is the lyrics are always written as "I've got the straight edge," but he doesn't say the. Does he?
I mean, I think he's trying to. It must have been that's what he wrote. That's what I'm saying. It's just like words are just getting fucking dropped all over the place here.
Yeah, it's so good.
he's so pissed.
And the guitar in this song is so sick. Just like
it's like dun dun dun. Like also just like the way the drums come in over like the riff and emphasize that portion of it is so fucking good.
It's so good. Okay, well I think before we watch a whole bunch of cringy stuff that makes us want to die, which is obviously going to be the bulk of the episode. Now that we're back to pod classic.
Yeah, totally original flavor.
I did find this video of Minor Threat playing in Winnipeg in 1983. Which is 2 years before I was born in Winnipeg. So I thought maybe we could watch a little bit of this and just probably,
I think the idea of just being like, imagine a world,
imagine
Winnipeg
yet.
before Josiah.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the same. I mean, I wonder if Polo Park was there. That's my other Winnipeg reference. I don't know when
year 2 BJ.
That sounds like the name of a freaking coming of age Judd Apatow movie. Okay, here we go. Even just the way that punk dancing wasn't really defined yet. They're not like doing punk jumps. They're just like swaying and vibing out and looking cool. They're just like doing a cool dip while they play.
Just a sway,
And then there's one more live video I think I have of them playing it. Perhaps. Here we go. I don't know when this is from.
Terrible situation. I'm sure you can.
Some old nerd can talk about when it's from.
Anyway,
Don't say I'm an old nerd.
Look at the blood on his head. Beautiful.
They seriously look so contemporary and hip.
It's really funny.
I appreciate you wouldn't jump on my head.
I think Ian MacKaye,
and all yes is control, guys.
even in this, he's saying, "Don't jump on my head." Is that what he just said?
I think so.
He's such a Karen.
Ian MacKaye loves rules.
He does. A little bit of jamming before
Gotta elongate the song.
Why did drums just sound cooler back then, too?
It's camcorders.
Yeah.
It's a real cool drum.
This is fucking sick. This is better than this song. This song reminds me a lot of the Shepherd tone. How it's just always kind of...
Yeah, it's true. It's true. That's so interesting. Perhaps we should define that for our listeners.
I can't remember already.
Oh,
but
fuck yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's just undeniably incredible music and an incredible performance. Now, is Ian MacKaye straight edge? Does he like that he birthed the movement of the most laundered
God, there's a
middle
million
managers
documentaries about that.
Exactly. I mean, I think it really boils down to this clip from Instrument where he talks about caffeine, and I do love how one of my favorite awful Twitter users who's always arguing that coffee is a drug. This kind of speaks directly to that. So here's Ian MacKaye talking about caffeine in Fugazi's Instrument.
We got to this gig and this really young kid ran up to me. I had some iced tea or something. And he ran up to me and he said, this is the first person who talked to me. He said, whoa, you're drinking iced tea? I said, yeah. I was like, this is unsweetened iced tea. And yeah. He was like, well, my friend says caffeine's a drug. I said, oh, tell your friend, fuck you.
It's pretty good.
It's so good. Oh, man. I feel like we talked about this, but I rewatched Instrument at some point in this pandemic that has never ended and will never end, and it's still, he's funny, man. He's a funny guy.
He's so funny, but he's also like such a grump, which makes it funnier.
It's way better. But that's it. Like I remember having a friend in high school who was like sort of halfway through, like grade 11, maybe grade 12. They like transferred over, and they were extremely punk, and they were not at all straight edge. But it was like kind of the first time I had like had a new stranger in my life who like really kind of got all the stuff that I was into. I remember them being like, I was reading a zine where the other guys in the band were saying that they smoke weed, which I guess turns out that was true, but it's so funny to have interrogated these. Or like, I read an interview with Ian MacKaye where he likes to relax with a microbrew every now and again. Fuck. And feeling like weirdly betrayed by that, which is incredibly stupid.
It's so, but I think it's because he just wrote a song that's too sick, and that's the problem.
That's like, it. That's almost like just 5% less sick. Maybe we have to live with like what are the? It sort of feels like the way that there are different interpretations of the Bible, right? And some people are like, well, you can't ever touch a woman's hand. You can't ever touch a person's hand who could be having their period.
Yeah. Although I think the thing with that is there's no like Dead Sea Scrolls. Like he's like, Teen Idol's X'd up. Obviously, there's a whole bunch of other shit going on that you can watch a bunch of punk rock NBA videos to figure out what happened. But this song being titled Straight Edge and kind of defining the movement, it's pretty straightforward, isn't it? Like lyrically? Well, let me see. I'm a person just like you, but I've got better things to do than sit around and fuck my head, hang out with the living dead, snort white shit up my nose, pass out at the shows. I don't even think about speed. That's something I just don't need. I mean, the lyrics are pretty terrible, to be honest.
Yeah. It's like, but like at no point are they like, this can't go. It's really, and I this is where like I can't wait for people to be mad at us or whatever. But I think the idea that like ultimately it's a song about not getting fucked up. And sometimes the easiest thing is just to be like, I'm good, full fucking stop. But like, it's not like having one beer, you are bad. That's not the vibe, right?
I mean, but that's true. But that second one you said is what I think. So that's kind of where we draw the line here.
Yeah, exactly. Having one beer is bad. And having one beer for a lot of people is quite bad.
Exactly.
But those are the lyrics to this song, right?
Yeah. I've got better things to do than sit around and smoke dope because I know that I can cope. Laugh at the thought of eating lewds. Laugh at the thought of sniffing glue. Always got to keep in touch. Never want to use a crutch. I mean, it's pretty stupid.
You mispronounced it. I was going to keep touching. Never want to use a crotch is how that's pronounced.
Now, is it true that Quaaludes don't exist anymore or something?
Yeah, that's the whole thing. There's no Quaaludes anymore.
Thanks to Ian MacKaye.
Thanks to Ian MacKaye. Thank you to Martin Scorsese, actually. And toxic masculinity in cinema.
They used them all up for that movie.
They used them all up, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the guitar makes you so hyped up that you're like, whatever he's saying, I'm going to sign up for this lifestyle right now without even having to
I'm
hear
interested.
But
when you heard this before, you were like, I get it, but also beers be tasty.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think like culturally, especially for a while there, straight edge stuff was just like the sickest. Like all of the piling on, black and white photos on the back of T-shirts and like intense statements that didn't really mean anything, but kind of just meant like, as long as you don't stab your friends in the back, which I think now has come to mean like if you don't sort of speak out about their known the whisper
Hopefully
network
that's what it means, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like it was like most of these people did actually, instead of drinking, just a lot of people were kind of just fucking complete sociopaths, pieces of shit. So
ignoring the edict against promiscuous sex, which was again very attractive to me in high school. It wasn't an option for me, but it just made me feel like it was my decision.
And that's, I mean, again, probably if somebody cares about straight edge, they're already. I think people who care about straight edge and people who don't like straight edge are probably all mad at us right now. And so
perfect.
And guess what?
That should be the goal.
And that's my drug of choice, is making you all mad at how stupid I am.
That is
I
true.
get to have a podcast.
that is you've really replaced one vice with another, I think, in your life.
But I haven't really like sat down and read these lyrics before, but he doesn't say anything about whether or not you can be dipping your wick, so to speak.
Yeah, the dipping wick stuff, and again, this is where like you can watch some punk rock NBA videos for this. That's all like that kind of came out in interviews and stuff, right? Where it was like, we just don't. There just happen to be a few things that some people place so much importance in that I'm saying, pretty sick. Pretty sick.
Yeah. There's so many notes underneath on Genius too, but it's just more like I don't know. It's just like fucking music nerd shit. Who cares? Anyways, Minor Threat. Ian MacKaye wrote this song, and then he was like all whiny about it for the rest of his life because he felt misunderstood, or he doesn't like how you can go to the store and get a straight edge shirt or whatever. He's always mad about people going to the store and buying stuff or whatever.
He probably loves COVID. He's like, restrictions on retail, all for them. Exactly. Less people at the stores.
Well, there must be some. No, he must like small businesses, though, don't you think?
You're right. No, he absolutely
Gen
does.
Xers there's two things that all Gen Xers believe in, and that's A, small businesses, and B, every Gen Xer seriously thinks that Twitter changed it so that you can start a tweet with adding someone and everyone will be able to see it. So they don't believe in doing the period before that. Every Gen Xer thing, and just check it out. You'll see any Gen X like celebrity who's trying to share their charity, they're fucking it up badly because they don't know about the dot thing.
It's heartbreaking. Didn't they change it though? Don't you not need to use the dot anymore? Or is that the Gen Xer in me showing?
That's the Gen Xer.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
That's the thing, because we're like kind of older millennials. We're on the cusp.
Yeah, we're almost zennials.
We almost believe that they changed it, so you don't need to do the dot. But they didn't change it. You need to do the dot, you guys. Ian MacKaye. Do you think Ian MacKaye has like a Finsta?
Oh, for sure.
Like, do you think Ian MacKaye, like, what do you think is like Ian MacKaye's like secret
Explore
vice?
page?
Like, do you think he like watches like reality TV or I don't know?
Yeah, I bet he's really into Vanderpump Rules. I think he's like,
that's what I was thinking.
He thinks that Jax is absolutely the number one guy in the group. He's like really he's really dedicated to the Lisa Vanderpump television universe for sure.
Right, or maybe he's into those like weird like British ones where you're naked. You like see your boyfriend's dick before you go on your first date or whatever.
Well, I'm sorry, what show? This is interesting.
There's all kinds of British naked reality shows that exist now.
Yeah, that's fair. Maybe it's that
Well, I'm pretty sure the rumor I've heard about Ian MacKaye, and I think Guy Picciotto, is that I've heard that they like chill at Coachella and like sip champers in the VIP because
that's pretty good.
Because they're like friends with Golden Voice or whatever, which I feel like is kind of sus maybe too, to be friends with them when you're.
I just think anyone who's
when you're telling us to support small business and to not put the period in front of the hat on Twitter.
Well, at least Golden Voice isn't like Live Nation, It's like a major indie. It's like Epitaph or something.
Yeah, I forgot I'm talking to label boss himself.
Yeah,
over here.
Please. It's important that he shows some respect. Yeah, I think the idea that you're right, reality TV. But here's the thing, Lisa Vanderpump, a small business owner, right? So it sort of works.
Oh, do you think he likes Netflix? Do you think he likes Squid Game? That's what I would like to know.
I know. Here's the thing. I actually think he doesn't have Netflix.
Ground.
I think he has Hey You, the reality streaming platform. He's like, Netflix is terrible. Hey You has the only shows that I want to see. He loves it. When Kelsey Grammer was on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, he was enraptured.
It'd be cool if there was like a DIY punk reality show. Why not? Like, why aren't people doing ideas? Like, you can do so many things with your smartphones nowadays. Do you think Ian MacKaye uses a flip phone?
Oh, no, I bet he has a BlackBerry, though.
He probably uses an iPad as a phone. He probably paid for data on his iPad.
There is a reality show called Steampunked, which is, a reality show that at least has punk in the title. And there was like, I don't know, in what was the Charlie XCX show that she had that was like her kind of making the band? Was that band punk?
Yeah, I mean, I think by our definition, in terms of punk news and whatnot, I think definitely.
Right, yeah. It was very Florence Punka. Florence Punka.
What if Ian MacKaye was like really into Minecraft or something? That would be maybe that. I could see that actually.
Right. No, he's into Roblox.
Yeah, it's just geeky enough, but maybe I don't know. He might hate the microtransactions of gaming though.
Maybe he's really into NFTs.
Actually, I feel like Ian MacKaye invented microtransactions. Really?
Damn, $5. Yeah, that's true. And you know what? Like, really into a like decentralized, punk ecosystem. I think he has a tidy collection of NFTs.
It's true.
He bought all the Pussy Riot NFTs.
I mean, yeah, we'll talk about NFTs probably not with our new punk news segment, but I don't know. Is there anything else about the actual song? I mean, I got a whole pile of shit to get through, but
I think we just got to look at people. There's enough ways that you can explore the impact.
If you want to
like
hear
threads.
like some fake academic do some sort of faux smart take on this or whatever, then you came to the right place because it's 155 pod and we're
two brainy boys.
We're just two brainiacs trying to
just
get through
doing
life.
Brain stuff.
Exactly. We're doing stuff.
I think it's time to let our hair down a little bit. Even us academics from time to time gotta get loose. No, the song fucking rocks.
It's so good.
It rocks.
Well,
Did you ever play? I remember playing these songs like at one point in university. A couple of people like. I had like a bar pub night.
When you're saying all this, like, did you actually get into Minor Threat before Fugazi or no?
No, because I got a Fugazi CD when I was in grade 7. So I was Fugazi first.
Same.
But then you kind of build out the whole Discord.
Then you're like
universe.
trying to do your like. To me, it was like a little bit of homework, but like fun homework. I think. Because the songs just cook. So like they're just like so sick.
And the reality is like I never like we've talked about this before in terms of. Like, I have a very smooth brain, and I like music that sounds smooth and sort of sits nicely against my brain. And like Minor Threat is like I don't have any other comparable bands. At least again, first half of the discography like memorized in the way that I have this like absolutely 100% committed to memory. But I don't have that with like Gorilla Biscuits
or too hard for you. You're saying
no. Minor Threat was like I think just like resonated so specifically with me at that time that I just like listened to it over and over again. But like I do you have a similar relationship to other hardcore bands of this era where you're like I know every Youth of Today song or whatever? Because like I don't. This was like the band. This was like the hardcore band for me.
I don't have that relationship with any music at all. I don't remember anything. I don't even remember Blink-182 anymore. Yeah, right. I actually don't. Someone on Discord was like, I can't get Mud out of my head. And I was like, in my head, I'm like, I don't even remember how that goes at all. I don't remember it. So, okay, well, before I want to talk about a couple like kind of shitty parodies of the song. But first, I did find this TV commercial that kind of, I think it was for like Drug-Free America or something. They were trying to use this. I think it's a TV commercial. They must have bleeped it on TV, but this is so cool. And like,
I'm a person just like you.
Straight Edge started Washington, D.C. in 1981 with a band called Minor Threat. They didn't need drugs. They didn't need to smoke. So that was
just like some little boy.
I've got better things to do.
I've been Straight Edge for about 2 years. I don't want to intoxicate myself.
And then sit around and fuck my head.
A lot of people, think that, you need drugs to have a good time.
Hang out with the living dead.
Once you're Straight Edge, you can see things a lot clearer. I don't do drugs, I don't drink, I don't smoke, so that's what's important to me.
Snort white shit up my nose.
Pass out at the shows.
It's pretty much a movement. It's moving all different directions, and there's kids with all different ideas, and ideas are always going to grow.
I don't even think about speed.
That's something I just don't need.
The way I look at Straight Edge, it's about helping
I
one
would
another.
love to know where this boy is now.
Yeah, I mean, this is like 11-year-old
an egg in a frying pan or whatever. This is your brain on drugs. Like how much of an impact is that going to have on you? I mean, I don't know of anything else, before 1981 that's done that much to bring kids together to be drug free as much as straight edge has.
Shout out to
Wow.
Partnership for Drug Free America for this cute
Who
little...
made this? Like, what is this shit?
I don't know. It's so cool.
That thing's insane.
There was like so many cool shots of like flashing film stills.
Yeah,
and
it was
then,
like really high quality. But like, I don't know, it's one of those things where like, man, which side do you want to be on? Like Partnership for a Drug-Free America? Like, oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah, I know.
Like that's some real like. Sorry, let's see. Jeb Bush. Like this is all like some of the most fucking evil people in American history. So that's bad. Maybe drinking is good.
According to Boing Boing website, Boing Boing's friend Guav was involved with the commercial, I guess, who writes, the guys who made it had roots in hardcore / punk and knew what they were doing. The minor threat concept was theirs. And they were really nice. They had several $100s worth of vegetarian paradise food delivered to the set for us while they were shooting it.
Cool.
But I guess PDFA, Partnership for Drug Free America, was largely funded by alcohol and tobacco industries.
Oh yeah, it's like Truth or what all those
Yeah.
places are. Man, I remember like being younger and being really stressed out because I was supposed to get my wisdom teeth taken out, and they have to like hit you with the gas, and I was like, but that would be an edge break.
Well, it would be. It's true.
Yeah, so I didn't do it. I still have my wisdom teeth because I'm straight edge.
Wait, do you actually still have them?
Yeah, I definitely still have my wisdom teeth.
Me too, dude. And mine are like growing inward, and like my teeth are going to explode any day. But it's because every time I've ever had benefits, like at a shitty job, they've never billed direct, and I've never had enough room on my credit card to get them out.
It's expensive as shit.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna die, I guess. I don't know.
I was like, this dentist gave me a really they're like, you'll feel as if you're floating on a cloud, and I was like, nah, man, fucking true till death, true till 20.
Well, according to Guav on Boing Boing, so it was funded by PDFA, but apparently the commercial never aired because the financial backers of the spots thought straight edge was just opposed to illegal drugs. When they saw the spot and realized that it was also rejecting alcohol and drugs, and it was vocal about that, they killed the spot. So I guess that never actually aired, but cool vid for sure.
Yeah, that's a very cool vid.
So there's a bunch of songs called I'm Not Straight Edge. You know how this one is called, he says, I've got the straight edge. I mean, how does he say it? I've got the straight edge.
I've got a straight edge. It's like the
it sounds like he's saying a straight edge.
It's like a contraction. It's like it's just like old type. It's like T apostrophe. I've got the straight edge.
I know. And we're going to be talking about merch this month, obviously, but like,
oh yeah.
But I've seen some pretty vibey merch that says the straight edge. I still don't really like it I like it better just as straight edge, not the straight edge. Like, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, it's like Pixies. Oh man, the Pixies played the Pixies. Pixies played like the Fox News New Year's Eve thing.
Oh really?
Yeah, I saw a clip. It was very strange. Hold on, I'm gonna look that up while I'm.
I honestly fucking hate Pixies, to be honest. I think they suck.
No, that's so silly.
Anyways, so let's check out a couple songs called I'm Not Straight Edge. This first one is from SoundCloud.
I'm not straight edge.
Great photo of Ian definitely playing in the events looking incredible.
Yeah. I don't think the lyrics are on here, but... I think there's like big oogle energy to writing a song called I'm Not Straight Edge. It reminds me of like, there was this thing in Calgary called Beercore, which was like drunk punks. And they make like hats out of Pilsner boxes or something. Yeah, because I feel like you'd be so mad that it's such a cool riff, but then it's like telling you not to have a beer, and then you'd be like, "How about we make it I'm Not Straight Edge?"
Yeah, then I can enjoy the music and also my beer.
Yeah, because there's also this band is called Homo Nervous, Nervus. I'm Not Straight Edge, and these. I mean, again, it's just like, who the fuck are these guys? Is the drummer standing, or does he just have his seat so high up?
Definitely standing.
These guys are like this, like 350-year-old men. This is like this is some Dr. Demento type of shit for sure.
It's funny how because I've got and I'm not like in this country, they all sound the same.
Huh?
Well, just I've got and I'm not sound the same. In both these songs, I just assumed these were straight covers.
I know, you can't
their
tell.
message is not coming through.
They've probably
effectively.
changed all the lyrics, like have a joint and do an 8-ball and go to the mall. Or, like they're just like doing some probably like comedy lyrics, but it's not. It doesn't come through.
No,
But these just look like three very weird accountants. These guys.
they are definitely three weird accounts.
I think
sure.
from the description, I think they're like Russian or something, or what? I mean, I don't even know, or Polish maybe. Look at their names. Pol. There's so many accents on here. One of them has the name Psyche in it as well. I don't know if you
Hold on, I gotta click. I'm gonna click through.
Here, I'll paste it to you. I'll paste it to you. Here you go.
Bortaz.
I think they might be Polish. These guys. So it's
that feels.
three Polish accountants, and if that doesn't sound like the setup for a joke that you probably shouldn't tell, then I don't know what is.
I think they also have. I don't know if this is their band or this is their other band, but if you look at that channel, there's also a lot of. So Homo Nervous is a primary band, but so is Autofellatio.
Oh yeah. Oh man, these guys are so cool. I wish I knew what the lyrics were for their version. And then there's one more. This one again seems very oogle drunk punk kind of thing. This is called Spitting on Cops is the name of the band. I'm not straight edge. This is the most high HD kind of sounding one.
And that sounds like a god.
Yeah, and it just also sounds bad, I think, is the other thing we're going to learn is I think as we go through these covers, I think doing a clean cut, straightforward cover of it never sounds as good as kind of completely deconstructing it, I think. Which is, I guess, kind of our whole thing, right? But finally, I want to play this kind of not really a parody. This is uploaded by X Speed Freaks 100. That's X Speed Free, but no KS. It's an X at the end. 100. This is a straight edge song inspired by Minor Threat Straight Edge. Now, this is uploaded in 2012, and I still don't think it really excuses maybe the usage of. There's a chance this is sketchy. I don't really know, and I can't make out the words, but I still think it's worth playing. So this is called "Beer is Queer," which is what this person is saying, and I think they're meaning it in a negative light. It's not they're not having pride about beer, but this is some sort of like weird power violence lurker on YouTube, and I just got to point out that this kid has made with a Sharpie. His own CBGB OMFUG shirt that like I actually badly want to make now.
Yeah, that is honestly sick.
It's so cool, right? And yeah, so this is called "Beer is Queer," a straight edge song I wrote. In the description, this user says, "Just a little song I wrote after listening to some Minor Threat and SOA, winky face. At one point I said beer is good, LOL. I didn't mean that, LOL." So in case you make out a
slip of the tongue.
A beer is good thing in this, possibly. I mean, that shirt is just so cool, bro. That sounds like something else. What is that?
I don't know, but it rocks.
I mean, that shirt is just incredible. I wish you could all see this shirt. If only there was a way that I could show you all this, how cool this shirt is.
There's no way to do it.
Unfortunately, there's no way to do it. But I mean, I think maybe that'll be the look this summer is a Sharpie CBGB OMFUG shirt. Because I might have to do that, honestly.
At least for you and me.
It's so cool. It's so fucking cool. But anyways, that's that. And I think there's more than enough covers to get us through this lonely night. You want to do that?
I'm ready.
So I'm so excited to kind of get back to the sweet, sweet cover section that we once knew and loved, where we can, it's not just our friends making great music, but it's actually maybe even our enemies making horrible music.
Yeah, we are reclaiming the sort of Blink-155 energy of scraping the bottom of the barrel, looking for covers with 0 to 2 plays. I mean, mostly. I think we'll cover some more.
Yeah, we're
going to
talk about the big boys too, right off the top. But yeah, so we're going to dig into some covers. I guess here's where we normally would have plugged the Patreon. So Sam, why don't you just make one up on the spot right now?
Yo, Patreon rocks. It allows, it fuels Josiah's ability to find the best stuff on the internet for you. We're still kind of figuring out. We're doing weekly exclusives. They've got video now. They're honestly quite sick because so much of what we do is innately visual and has been since the beginning. And now there's an opportunity to have that be less alienating and inconsequential. So honestly, if you like this podcast and you think, I'd like more, we got some very good exclusives coming out this month related to Dry January. We're talking, at the top of the month, we're talking predictions. There's going to be some good stuff happening behind the paywall. And we're going to figure out the newsletter and stuff. So really being part of the Gatekeeper fam on Patreon is the only way to fully experience 155 as we, the creators, intend.
That was pretty good. I mean, it wasn't as good as your scripted one that you used to do, but we have no script anymore. We're just we're straight up improv now.
That's it. We ripped up the script. It's pure improv. Well, why don't you name a punk band from Washington D.C., Josiah?
Oh,
name a punk lifestyle.
I can't think of
punk lifestyle.
Fuck. I have no idea. I'm sorry. I've heard of it, but I don't know.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
No, okay. So here, let's bridge the gap with last month and this month. With the, we were talking about some bad, oogle, ironic covers of "I'm Not Straight." I think the worst, most annoying one comes from the worst, most annoying band that I can't help but love sometimes, and that is, of course, NoFX with their cover of Straight Edge.
Even after last month, you don't just accept that you love this band?
Maybe I do, but I actually don't even remember this one. What little riff is that at the start?
I don't know.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh yeah, I remember. This is good.
I'm a person just like you,
Who's actually singing on this?
Is it El Jefe?
but I've got better things to do. Sit around and fuck my
Yeah, I think it's El Jefe singing.
I hang out with the living dead.
It is pretty good, actually.
Yeah, that's El Jefe.
That makes me mad that it's good.
It's really great. It's real proto Richard Cheese,
Yeah, it's true. But, I just know that they're doing it to kind of be annoying. So that's why I don't like it.
You don't like when other people do things deliberately to be annoying?
Not if it's coming from not if it's like NoFX. Not if it's punk rock bowling people doing it. No, okay. Of course not.
But they weren't punk rock bowling people yet.
Yeah, but they were. Of course they were. The punk rock bowling people were born that way. It just hadn't hatched yet. It's still like a.
It's uncharitable. Uncharitable.
Of course I don't like when other people do things to be annoying on purpose. That's a rhetorical device. It's not just automatically good. It needs to be used correctly.
I sort of understand.
Okay. Speaking of annoying people, it's Sam's friends. Just kidding. But this is from Fest, I think.
Man, somebody was... fuck, I can't remember what the thread was. I think I shared it with you. Someone was kind of trolling for like, what's the most annoying band that you actually like? And someone said Jeff Rosenstock. I was like, this is insane. This is premium shit. And then the response was that it sounded like Funko Pop music, which I thought was
I've intentionally never listened to Jeff Rosenstock because I know he's a friend of the show. He's a friend of yours. And I think it's just better that way if I never hear it. So God bless you.
I think you would like it. That's the thing. Although until someone called it Funko Pop music, and then I thought maybe you won't, but then I remembered that you do like Funko. Like between the two of us, you're the most inclined to like Funko Pops.
That's also true. Well, this is called the
Did you get into Funko Pops when you got straight edge, or were you into Funko Pops as a man who still drank alcohol?
Well, I'm not really into. I was never into Funko Pops. I had like
Did you
90,
collect them?
I had like 90s ephemera. Like
I thought you said you had 90, and I was like, you're into Funko Pops.
I had like Simpsons comics and Mad Magazine. It's not good what I had, but I was into like Ren and Stimpy and The Simpsons and Mad Magazine, and I had specifically a couple Funko Pops related to that at the time, like 10 years ago. All right, well, we're all being open here. That's the truth.
So you bought them when you were drinking, which is maybe another.
Yeah,
reason
maybe
why.
that's why.
That's good that you stopped.
My entire
drinking.
sobriety has just been podcasting the whole time. So I don't know
Right,
what that
all
means.
of that Funko energy has gone towards our listeners.
Well, speaking of, so this is the Jeff Rosenstock All Stars, the Ergs Warriors, all together at the Fest. Oh boy, remember the Fest month? Good Lord, that was a tough.
No.
That was a dark time. So are they? But Jeff Rosenstock's now straight edge, right?
No, but just people like Minor
It's just
Threat.
like such a sick song.
Yeah.
Now there's two people singing on it. Were you at this?
No, I was not there. I think that's Lauren from Warriors.
Is there a lot of people playing the Paul McCartney bass at Fest?
No, this is the first Paul McCartney bass I've seen at Fest.
I can understand like the desire to buy the Paul McCartney bass because you want something different, but like it always looks like shit. Don't buy
It's
the Paul
so
McCartney.
tiny.
Don't buy
It's
that
so
stupid
small.
violin thing. Like just come on, just get like
Yeah.
a P bass or even like just like a Squire.
Unless you're playing in the transmitters, like unless you are railed
true.
in and in a suit, I'm not interested.
Yeah, and even then, like I mean, you'd still be better off getting a normal kind, or
Nah,
just,
you
you
got-
could get like a short scale, some sort of short scale. I think I had like a Fender Jaguar short scale before I left YYC.
wow.
And it looked really. I hated playing a short scale. I felt like a giant holding a toothpick while I played it. But I don't know the Paul McCartney bass. I just think it's upsetting to me. Anyways, so you weren't at this.
I was not at this. No.
Is
I
this
don't even
like-
know which venue this is.
What,
at.
is that a giant inflatable PBR on stage?
Yeah,
or
this
just
being
another-
performed next to a giant inflatable PBR is quite sick. This is from 2016, so that's Fest 15. So I think I was already not going.
You were too good for it.
I was already too good for it.
Well, okay. I don't want to talk about Fest with you ever again. So up
Yeah,
next
we've had enough.
is our friend Ska Tune Network doing a ska cover of Straight Edge. Now I don't know if they are straight edge. Maybe they are. I haven't watched these videos in so long.
Now I feel like Jer could pull off a Paul McCartney bass.
That's true.
Like I feel like they're dancing in such a way that would like work.
They could pull it off, but they're too cool to try because they know better.
Right, that's fair. Now I don't know if you realize this, Josiah, but ska is important, powerful music. Ska has always been important, powerful music.
There's not a lot of. I feel like that's the sort of micro narrative of ska was like, oh, ska is funny and it sounds like mozzarella sticks, and then it was like people preaching about how important ska was.
That's
And
the
then
era
now
we're
no
in
one
right
talk.
now.
No, I think that's over. Is what I'm saying. I
You
think
think
it's
so? We're out
I
of
think-
the ska
I think
matters.
now people are just like ska doesn't exist. Like people are just like this. It was too much too quick, and everyone's like, I don't even know what ska is. I never heard of it before.
I feel like it was
Everyone just
interesting. Like,
blocked it out completely.
I feel like in December, both Ska Tune Network and Death of the Party, Keith from Every Time I Die had like a sort of unexpected crossover into like normie irony Twitter. I don't know what I would call it, but both for I think one of the threads in which Jer was defending quite voraciously the honor of ska, which I saw get roasted, and then similarly where Keith Buckley was like, empaths can't watch Seinfeld.
Yeah, I saw that.
Which is pretty funny. It's just always weird when these things that you think are popular and known get discovered by other people who are like, what is this?
I'm trying to think if is that sort of the equal read on Seinfeld as saying that ska is Like, I feel like it's equally problematic to erase mozzarella stick Chuck E. Cheese sounding ska. You still need to, you have to acknowledge that it happened and that it was important, even if
and rocked.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone loves matzo sticks. You ever have matzo sticks show up on a table and you're like, no, thank you.
I mean, this doesn't sound like the Mighty Mighty Bosstones at all.
No.
I'm pretty sure this isn't ska. I'm going to leave a comment that this isn't ska.
This is more reggae than ska.
No,
you should definitely start.
It's sick though. I actually miss watching these videos. They're so
they're
so pure,
so fucking good. They're
it's just
so good.
Like, it's just so delightful.
I feel like I exclusively watch Jared's videos, like probably through Twitter, where you're scrolling, you're like, oh, ska, this song, and I inevitably watch the whole fucking thing and am delighted the entire time.
Yeah, exactly. It's so cute. Okay, well, let's just for Old Pod Energy, real quick, a little bit of an 8-bit cover.
Oh yeah, got to do that.
I can imagine somebody downloading this and performing on top of it at like a DIY space.
Oh, for sure.
That could be a thing. Anyways, enough of that. This one you had also. I said, "Oh, Sam, if you want to add any to the list."
Oh, I thought I didn't see. Yeah. Okay.
But I had already added it, so you'll never.
Sorry,
you'll never
I was trying to see.
I can never be stumped.
I know that. I think there's one that I added that you hadn't added.
There is one.
I'm real. So the other two you had already found, I guess, but the one that I added, I think, is very Josiah, and I'm very excited for you to see it and hear it.
Maybe there is actually two because I think I moved them up. You might have found two that I hadn't grabbed, but this one I did find. It's by Kotick Couture. This is a straight edge Minor Threat cover. This is like
from 1981 to 2013.
How did you describe this in your notes? Because I grabbed this and I just wrote electro vibey.
I didn't really write anything, I don't think. But
is this what Electro Clash was?
It seems more like it's like post. It reminds me. Well, I think it's because of I can't escape the image, which is like someone.
It's very SoundCloud. It's very like contemporary.
It's like more MySpace. I think. Like it's like. And the rapper said 2013. Also, they haven't even started the song yet. It's all ad libs.
I feel like I skipped ahead though. They definitely do it.
Yeah. I think it's atrocious. First of all, I hate it so much.
Oh, here it is. Kind of has a shepherd tone in the background, though, eh?
And I've got the straight edge.
What's that?
I wish it was like a big drop. Like I've got the straight. Like that would be. I wish it was.
It reminded me of. I think it's the image is reminding me of this, but it's like MySpace era, like before LMFAO really crystallized the moment. There was like a million guys who were trying to become like MySpace American Apparel employee rappers, and LMFAO like blew up too much that it kind of ruined the whole moment. It's kind of like how like Fleet Foxes could never exist now because of Mumford and Sons. Like I feel like that's kind of the vibe of like. LMFAO ruined it for all of these guys, but it reminds me of
party rocked too close to the sun.
Exactly. It kind of reminds me of this band from Vancouver called Fake Shark Real Zombie, who were like, I don't know how. I mean, God bless them. The singer of that band used to work at my local A&B Sound, so I've definitely bought probably some Fugazi CDs from him, to be honest. But I never really could understand that band. But I think it's that kind of. It seems like that kind of thing, right? Like
I think we've talked about this. The singer from maybe Daggermouth had a project like this where he covered Accident Prone. It was honestly quite sick, but like this was the vibe for sure.
Yeah, it's like when people used to wear like really high creative recreation sneakers, and like they always did this snarl thing with their mouth. That's happening here. So anyways, shout out Kotick Couture. I would imagine probably like someone who wears a big brimmed hat now, probably like a Nashville type of person is my guess.
Big Nashville type person energy.
Yeah. But let's go to the other one I think that you had found. I don't know what this one even, or maybe I also found this one. I can't remember. I'm actually really confused by my own notes here. But this says straight edge Summat like a cover of Minor Threat.
This is true design.
Oh, I didn't find this. Oh my God.
So this kid is definitely like in a hallway at school, and I believe their friend is kind of doing the guitar part, and they open up by saying, "I'm a hardcore kid," and then I think they say, "I'm doing a British accent." So I don't think they are British.
This is incredible.
Yeah, it's not. We gotta like listen to it again from the beginning, but because it gets better than this.
Oh my god, yeah, and the kid kind of looks like a little bit like Eminem, weirdly, and then also like like 2000s,
like Shaggy Eminem.
But
yeah,
like,
he looks like if Eminem was in Licorice Pizza.
Oh yeah, actually, you know who this kid looks like? Is speaking of British, is Badly Drawn Boy, I think.
Yes, yeah, totally.
I'm gonna sing with a British accent. And I do like windmills and stuff, but I can't really do it, so I'm a person just like you. But I'm gonna sit around smoking.
Wait, this is in Toronto, Sam.
Yeah, Young Eglinton Center. I thought it was a school. They're sort of doing some tap dance.
Some shaking. Wow.
Yes.
Okay, you know what? You've stumped me. That's among the best that we're gonna watch right now, I think.
I'm pretty. There's two comments here. Raffle, rock on, and then what the fuck?
Probably like some old head, some old clean cut straight edge head. The second comment.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so proud to have found that little slice of Toronto history.
Okay, up next is the Cleshays, Cleshays, and I believe this is teens, and I believe they're playing outside. So
Why is it dead? Good. I go.
I'm so excited to have the cover section back just so we can watch videos of bands playing outside.
I know. Why is the singer so far back? He's like right in front of the drum.
Yeah.
Oh, I think he's trying to stop the amp from falling over.
Yeah, definitely holding up the amp.
Or maybe because of feedback. Good drummer. As far
The best thing is, almost the entire band looks really like just extremely normal high school people, and then the bass player is like super punked out. Like, oh my god, there's just like 4 people just randomly hanging out in this backyard.
2 of them were trying to mosh for a second. One of them had a Total Chaos shirt. They're like absolutely some junior high punkers. I love the Cleshays. Well, up next, the
Cleshays rock. This is a Cleshays pod.
This
now.
band is called 1D. Just the number 1 and the letter D, and this is from 2012. Now, did One Direction? When did they come out? Like, who came first?
This is the original 1D.
Is they came out in 2010. So maybe they were referencing that by calling themselves 1D. But this looks like they're playing in a school bathroom, but it's probably a gym, I guess. I mean, this is just already just this still alone. I just feel so much joy from looking at this right now.
Yeah, this. Oh.
The drummer's just playing a totally different. And the bass player playing with fingers. There is an Army of Darkness poster.
Army of Darkness.
So what
this looks like it's maybe the band room or something. And this is in a basement.
That's so cool.
Fuck yes, 1D. This is now this is historically this is the only 1D that matters.
The 1D that matters. Other than the 1D that matters to me, Drew, of course. Okay, up next. This is a guy in a cowboy hat who I think is a teen, and he plays through the whole Minor Threat EP while wearing a full cowboy regalia.
Miserably, but I guess we'll try.
So sick. I don't think he does fail miserably.
How am I going to do this?
I
mean, this is just the sickest video.
This vibe.
Even the way it's like, I think
it's there's like like the lens is sort of fisheye subtly.
I think he's doing the wide angle iPhone. This is probably a pretty new video, and he's zoomed out his iPhone so it does the wide angle.
Got real long legs.
It's so cool. I mean, so he's got a Squire Telecaster with a Zero skateboarding stick, but he's dressed like a full cowboy. But I'm trying to figure out, like, is he a real cowboy? Is he being ironic, or?
I feel like he's behaving in such a way to make me think that he means it. Although,
well, he does cover Mac DeMarco as well.
Yeah, unfortunately, his YouTube channel is Punk Flamingo. I think he's a little bit Mac boy.
He's a little bit self-aware, but I really think he should ditch the Mac DeMarco vibe and go for full skater, cowboy, straight edge guy. That's like such a sick vibe.
It's like a great vibe.
I love this little cowboy. We'll talk about more cowboys in a second, but while we're in the teen section, God bless the teen section.
I saw this video and I was like, you've definitely found this.
Yeah, so this is the School of Rock San Diego performance of Straight Edge by Minor Threat. Sometimes when I see like cool teen punks, they seem fictional. They seem like when I'm watching a movie and I'm like, punks don't look like person act like this, but they do. They're so cool.
Yeah, these are like impossibly cool kids.
And actually, this person is pulling off a Paul McCartney bass, so maybe I was wrong.
But they're making it work. You got to be a certain type of cool person. Yeah.
That scream.
Sorry, that scream is coming from the person holding the Paul McCartney bass.
Not Sam squeeing with joy at the video, although it could happen.
Yes.
Oh, that was so tight. Oh my god.
That fucking ruled. I found that. So I was trying to find like school, like, you know, auditorium covers of it. And I don't know how you found it, if that was just an endless scroll, but I found that by searching Straight Edge Minor Threat School of Rock. Because I was like, there'll be some kids covering this at one of those fucking things.
But these kids are they're actually scary cool. Was there a drummer at all? Was it like canned drums? Maybe it was.
I mean, the drums are not in the shot. Maybe the drums is like one of the instructors.
There also is a kid. There's one kid in the background is that kid warming up for the next? Oh no, he's playing. He just kind of like fades away.
And then the bass just stands in front of him
to do that howl. So
honestly,
sick.
Unfortunately, like these other two people are stars, and that tiny guy is
get
just
the fuck
not.
Out of there, you
it.
little nerd. Be gone. Be gone with
gone,
you.
nerd.
Okay, up next. What is this one? This is called Yuppie Club. And I don't remember what it's like, but I think it fucking sucks so bad. Oh yeah, because there's like this terrible.
Sorry, I love the idea of, I don't know what this is, but it probably sucks.
That's my motto. I hate that. I hate that kind of like metalsucks.com or like, you know, like metal blogger kind of growl is so disgusting to me. You
Great
know
growl.
what I mean? Is there any band that does that well? I'm sure fucking Marsden's gonna come out of his little hovel.
Which band does which band growls well?
Yeah, like because I feel like it's like, well, there was this
too broad.
I know. I think I'm just my inner white belt still just wants it to be screechy and screamy.
You want it to be like that bass player from the School of Rock San Diego band.
Yeah, exactly. And also just this art is so bad. Yuppie Club.
It's fucking brutal.
It's called Pretty Brutal, the album. So
it's not just a clever name.
Speaking of pretty brutal, let's get into.
Sorry, wait. So the art, just to actually, because I'm looking at it, it's like a mask
with blood on it.
But then also like what looks to be sort of like a graph of, I don't know.
Something going down.
It's a graph going down.
It's bad.
A baseball bat covered in blood and then like an empty beer glass. Like, I don't understand the narrative.
A bunch of
like
scrunched up $50 bills. Maybe they hit Yuppies or something? I don't know. Yuppie Club. Actually, the fonts themselves of Yuppie Club are so bad that they're incredible. They look really cool.
Yeah, it does come back around.
But speaking of things that are so bad that maybe don't come back around, let's get into like this kind of shit. So this first up, unfortunately, this means we do have to get back into...
I hate this. Like, there was a few ukulele covers I found, but I just hate more of the way this person is like...
The eye contact?
Unblinking eye contact with the camera.
I'm a person just like you, but I've got better things.
I am finding new things to hate.
Sit around and fuck my head, hang out with the living dead, Snow White shit.
Living dead.
Pass out at the shows. I don't even think about speed. That's just something I don't need.
Got to enter our private chat to tell you who this person reminds me of.
I've got straight edge.
They'd probably think it's funny, but It's meant to be so mean that I'm going to tell you only you.
Just like you.
Oh, that's not funny. But also, it's not wrong.
Well, here's someone else that we definitely probably. I mean, you must. I bet you've been in this guy's house before. This just seems like someone that we would know somehow. This is some guy. He's got the.
Oh yeah, it's Chris.
Yeah, it's definitely a Chris. He's wearing an out of step Nirvana parody shirt. I love the unplugged hardcore guy voice.
Oh yeah. Got a poster for the Descendants movie.
I mean, he uploaded it for Edge Day. It's pretty cute.
Okay.
This guy. I should probably start writing down who's who now. This is Mike McKinnon. Of course his name is Mike McKinnon.
Mike McKinnon.
He does an acoustic cover of Lose Yourself.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so thank you, Mike McKinnon, for that. That guy was British. I guess that makes sense, actually. So this next one is called Singing in the Shower, and I was really hoping it was going to be somebody like just singing it in the shower.
Just soaped up.
But unfortunately, it's much more fucked up sounding than that. So there's like daunting computer noises.
Person just like you, but I've got better things to do. Sit around and fuck my head, hang out with the living dead, nor watch shit about my nose.
I mean, this is great.
Out at the shows, I don't even think about speed. Some things I just don't need.
Ooh.
I got a straight edge.
It's so creepy sounding.
Yeah.
It kind of sounds like Don't Fear the Reaper.
But I've got better things to do.
I've got better things to do.
Yeah, it's like a weird. It's like Metallica, Blue Oyster Cult. Very unsettling and deeply sick.
But the thing is, we can't. I don't know if I can definitively say what kind of sick it is right now.
No,
I don't know if I.
It would take some time.
Yeah. Okay. Up next is what's this one called? Black. This one is so creepy.
Sea of Ska. It's revolutionary
Blackzilla.
important.
The comments are turned off of this one for some reason. Blackzilla is the name of the artist.
Got the straight edge.
I feel like this might be a little kid actually looking at the channel.
I mean, this is good.
It's actually so good. But when I only heard a little bit, I was terrified. It's definitely better than the No Effects version.
I got the straight edge.
There's something about this song that brings out everyone's inner Dr. Demento, or it reminds me of my uncle's comedy album that I played on that we got to do a listen party of one day.
Yes.
But yeah, I don't know. This kind of
there's real Demento energy, like absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Up next is this one. This one has more like.
This one has more like Calgary.
Yeah, racist Calgary energy.
Yeah, like this feels like a band that would perform in blackface. Maybe I'm exclusively thinking about the Matadors right now, but
Just like you, but I've got better things to do. Sit around and fuck my head.
This is so Calgary. This is like,
yeah. Who are the guys that you said listen to Torch in Calgary? What are their names?
Listen to what?
The Torch fans, imaginary Torch fans.
Oh, Lords.
But the name, there was like a men's name, and you were like, everyone in Calgary was Torch's names.
I can't remember.
Yeah, okay. It feels like a band full of those guys.
It's more like I mean, it's really the Calgary guys that look like Greg Proops who love. Like,
oh yeah,
they know all about like all these bands that were on Mint in the '90s called like I think Huevos. Was it Huevos Rancheros?
Huevos Rancheros, yeah.
And like the Ramblin' Ambassadors. And like all that kind of stuff.
They're pretty good.
They all have like the same cartoon artwork, and I feel like they kind of have this vibe. I mean, they're friends with everyone I'm friends with. They seem nice enough, but I mean,
You're
it's just kind of
all
like
probably racist.
no, I don't. I don't think those guys are racist, probably, but I mean, there's just a feeling to it where you're just like kind of icky. I don't know.
Yeah.
Kind of feels like you're listening to an ashtray when I was listening to this cover right
Yeah,
now.
totally. The Whiskey Daredevils.
That was the name of the artist. Yeah, the Whiskey Daredevils. Are they from Calgary?
I don't know. Let's find out, probably.
I mean, I'm not straight edge is a pretty Calgary thing to do. Whiskey Daredevils. Oh,
Let's
the Whiskey
see.
Daredevils.
No, they are America's finest punkabilly band.
They have a song called Ironic Trucker Hat from 2001. Damn, stick it to them. Oh my God, this. I think I've seen this art before. Maybe where they have like a Planet of the Apes guy riding a. Oh man, this band is very bad vibes. I'm getting such bad vibes. Let's move along.
Where are they from, though? We need to know where they're from. It's
They're
really
from
important.
hell. They're literally from hell.
Oh, they're from Cleveland, so not far off.
I tried to click their website and it's not secure. So I think my computer's trying to save
Right, you're getting
me.
hacked. Yeah.
Getting hacked. Yeah, my desktop background just changed to a Confederate flag, and no one knows what level of irony it is. Minor Threat, Straight Edge, Emil Arison Orchestra. So this is kind of an orchestral take on it. But I think it's not a real orchestra. I don't think it's...
I think this is real. I think this is the TSO. I believe we might have cut this from our conversation with Stephen Wimmer from the TSO during Decline Supper, but he discussed this recording at length.
I also feel like in Decline Semper, I was tricked into loving the orchestral performance, but then at the very end, Nate Roos said he hated the orchestral version.
Not exactly a man of taste.
I mean, then I was thinking back to it, and I was remembering like all the eyebrow rings swaying to that orchestral cover video that we watched, and I'm like,
Don't
know who I
let Nate
am anymore.
Ruiz shame you out of liking what you like.
I'm just saying.
I feel like you are.
I've been more tricked into
killed.
liking. I think NoFX keeps tricking me because I can't. I'm so on the fence about where I sit with NoFX that I could be swayed in any direction at any time.
I get that. A strong wind. I understand. But
okay.
I think you got to stand up for yourself.
This is by The Dark Horse.
Yeah, I'm a person just like you, but I got better things to do to sit around and fuck my head, hang out with the living dead, snow I shit up my
I mean,
nose, pass out
still,
at
I
the
think
show.
not
That don't
meant
even
to be
speed,
turned
that
into
just
a
don't get just don't need.
hip hop
I'm
flavor.
kinda straight edge.
But this might be better than
I'm a
the other MySpace rapper.
Yeah, this is definitely.
But it still sounds like a much more
I think
embarrassing
this
version
reminds
of.
me of like So Fresh and So Clean.
It's a much more embarrassing version of that anti-drug PSA that we saw. I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, whatever. I don't know what this one is. I can't remember. I kind of lost my mind. Oh, it's like weird, like organ punk.
Okay, this is good.
This seems like they could play it like at a Capitals game or something.
Yeah. Yeah, this is good. Do you think organ music has its own sort of like drug-free subculture?
Because organists are so.
Everyone knows I mean, look I think every subculture is ultimately about drinking and doing drugs. Unfortunately, that's why it's always been so weird to me that there isn't the same like that straight edge sort of only exists in punk and hardcore.
Yeah,
because there obviously are people who don't drink in like.
I guess
some
organists love to hit the pipe, right? It's kind of
it's good.
Just let everyone catch up to that.
We should just chill for a second. Let that one breathe.
Okay, I'm gonna skip this. I'm gonna skip one of these because I think we've been through enough. But here's another hip hop one. I think this one might actually be cool. It's called Hip Hop Happens. This has like some nice like Dust Brothers kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Or maybe like
it's very Beastie Boys.
Yeah.
I'm the dopest, no it's true.
Okay, they've changed the lyrics, and it's not great. Do you think there's like...
This reminds me of like Ninja High School.
Oh yeah, totally. Or like I remember when I was first reviewing music, I think there was like some sort of I don't even know what it was called, like peanut. There was some sort of Winnipeg like hip hop white guy hip hop label that I would always get sent their CDs, and I like tried really hard to like it because. Like, I guess what I'm trying to say is it's not very often.
Peanut Butter Wolf?
No, not Peanut Butter Wolf is the guy from Stone's Throw, right?
Yeah,
There's something like that though, there's something like that from Winnipeg, and I can't remember what it was. Yeah, I can't remember. I shouldn't even remember what it is because I don't think I liked it very much. But all I'm trying to say is like, it's very rare that you hear underground music that actually sounds kind of like the Beastie Boys, and I bet you whatever this is probably not as good as whatever this sounded like. But for that 1 minute and 2 seconds, I was really enjoying that. It sounded really good. Yeah,
absolutely.
That was cool.
Now I just really want to listen to Ninja High School.
Hip hop
find
happens.
all those.
This is called Hip Hop Happens. Okay,
it does.
Let's go. I got a couple left. I've saved the best for last as usual because we're back, baby. But first, Henry Lee Schmidt. This is a country bumpkin doing his own take on straight edge. He said it was important to him as a child.
Okay.
I'm a person just like you, but I've got better things to do than sit around and fuck my head. Hang out with the living dead. It's not white shit up my nose, then just pass out at the shows. I don't even think about Steve. That's something I just don't need. I've got the straight edge.
Hell yeah. This is sick.
I've got a straight edge. I've got a straight edge.
Oh, this is great.
I'm a person just like you, but I've got better.
This is from an EP by so Henry Lee Schmidt is from Madrid, Spain. I'm a quiet man born in the wrong country. Triple X written on his Bandcamp. It's from an EP where he covers 3 Minor Threat songs. True Love Will Find You in the End by Daniel Johnston, and I Want to Be Your Dog by the Stooges.
Oh, I mean, I'm a Schmidt head.
Yeah, me too. I'm a big
Just a
fan
couple of Schmitties on the pod.
Take me to Schmidt's Creek, is what I say.
You have said that before.
It didn't really work that time. But okay, up next is Trotsky Nautique Bordroit. I don't know. I mean, I don't even know anymore, but that's what that's called, and that's what this is. It's kind of an animated video, and it says State Edge, so you might want to fucking copy edit your shit before you upload it. It's kind of like a Casio tone for the Painfully Alone sound.
I'm so glad covers are back so we can
only reference 2 things. We haven't had a shoo yet, but we will.
Yeah, it's coming.
But this is so cool. So the
can
video.
You tell this is an accurate translation as a
I think so.
resident of Quebec?
I only know that when they say sack, they're asking if you want a bag, and I try to remember my Dollarama bag when I go to the store. So this is a great video, though.
This is a sick video. It's like a sort of sped up drawing. Very great drawing. Of a guy not being straight edge in the middle of the street. Can anyone who actually speaks French tell us if these are the same lyrics?
That was so
fucking
cool.
sick.
That was really awesome. Cool. Trotsky Nautique. Well, finally, I'm most excited about this one. This kind of makes me feel like I've returned home because it's so fucking weird. This is called Mucky Man, Straight Edge, Rewrite Cover, Minor Threat. But most importantly, this cover of the song doesn't just arrive on its own. It does arrive via a choreographed ice dancing, ice skating.
Oh, now are you going to do a thread of the covers? Because that was how things used to go back in the day. But
oh my god, my work keeps piling up.
Maybe just some highlights, because I feel like this is a choreographed ice routine.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I'll drop all my notes in Discord when this comes out. So if you're a patron,
subscribe to the Patreon.
You go. You can hit that.
There we go.
But yeah, obviously we're going to have to share this one, because I mean, just check this shit out. This is Mucky Man featuring Jeremy Fleming. Straight Edge Rewrite Cover, Minor Threat.
Oh my god, what? It's amazing ice dancing.
Ich bin straight edge. Yeah, this is just delightful.
Oh my god.
Ich bin straight edge.
Ich bin straight edge. Ich bin straight edge. Fuck off.
It's your first time on the real pod. Of course, you've been behind the paywall. You've been terrorizing us on Twitter. You've been terrorizing us on Discord. And you constantly are among the people who kind of get on my case for pronouncing things wrong. And while we were just talking before I introduced you, you did pronounce nuance like nuance. So I'm going to go ahead and say fuck you for that. But welcome to your first main app appearance. What is up, Marsden?
Hello. Welcome. Welcome. Why am I welcoming you?
Thank you so much. Thank you for welcoming. So what's up? I mean, how you feeling so far in Dry X January X?
Oh, I mean, amazing. It's it really feels great to be able to I was about to say take the gloves off, but I guess rather put the gloves on, my X'd up work gloves, and be even more of a bully than usual on social media. I think it's an important opportunity for some balancing out. I'm excited about it, and I'm really excited to hear what you guys have got for the rest of the month. And I do. This is going to be a little bit corny, but like I do sincerely hope that, as much as people have, already made fun of this at this point, I do sincerely hope that, maybe over the course of this month that people who have not thought about it before maybe give a little bit of consideration to the idea of sobriety or abstinence, temperance, whatever you want to call it. I do genuinely think that for anyone who has spent their life thinking, oh, I don't have a problem with these things, but I could stop at any time if I want to. I'm not saying that you do have, a problem with any consumptive choices, but, I do think it can be really cool to take a moment to step back from those things and, see how you feel not doing them, actually putting that into practice. And it doesn't matter if it's something that you end up sticking with. Like, it's cool if you decide to go back to, if you are someone who likes to party, if you're someone who likes to drink or use drugs, it's like, that's fine. But, I do think that because we live in a society that I view as being intrinsically pro-consumption of intoxicants, that balancing that out a little bit by, just trying to keep away from that for a short period of time can be an enlightening experience for anybody, no matter what they choose to do in the long run. And I do hope that listening to, what you guys put out over the course of the month, if even one person is inspired to like reconsider their relationship with drugs and alcohol, I think that that's amazing and more power to them. And also, for what it is worth, well, we're on that note, I do want to say that if anybody wants to talk to anybody about their relationship with drugs and alcohol, the DMs are always open. Truly, I mean, I joke a lot.
You're a very different person in the DMs. If people don't realize that,
I know 100%. I truly feel like basically everybody that I have met through the pod, if I have gotten to know them well enough that we ended up conversing at all on the regular in the DMs, that's like the one thing that absolutely every person says.
You're also, I think, I don't know if this, I think this is public knowledge, but you're of the first, I think, couple of the pod to have been, I think, spawned from listening to the pod and for it to happen through the pod. Is that, I mean, how does that feel?
That's okay being public knowledge at this point. Yeah, and for what it's worth, my girlfriend Emily is who, yes, as you say, I met through the pod, is also not an exception to that. She has literally remarked upon that on a few occasions that she was a lot more, in her words, scared of me before we had ever talked in the DM. So yeah, genuinely, when I say that the DMs are open, I realize that may not be appealing.
It'd be great if we could all talk to Marsden in the DMs so much that he stops posting. I think would be the ideal situation.
Honestly, that would be good for me too. I would be happier that way. But yeah, if someone does want to talk to me about that, I promise that I am less evil in a one-on-one conversation than I might hear otherwise. And I actually am like sincerely very, very interested in the like sociopolitics of sobriety and the history of them. I'm really, really interested in how sobriety is deeply and intrinsically entangled with like the history of social justice movements, from Black Power to Marxism to nascent feminism. And I do actually study this stuff in real life in university and write about it. And, you know, for anyone who maybe is sobriety or temperance curious, but they find that they are not satisfactorily motivated by the way that those things are often popularly talked about. You know, I try to say this, you know, I don't want this to sound arrogant, but like I do think that I have an angle that is unique in terms of my own reasons for personally wanting to promote those sorts of lifestyle choices. And that I think, you know, if people have found that discussions of sobriety or temperance that they've encountered in the past have kind of fallen short, that doesn't mean that you have to stay closed off to it, because, you know, there are not just myself, but like loads of people who have very unique and interesting and valid takes on why I think that, you know, abstaining from the use of drugs and alcohol can make you a happier person or a kinder person. Or even just a more responsible citizen in a lot of ways, and in ways that I think a lot of people might not consider.
Okay, so let's. Yeah. I mean, it feels like you're already doing plugs for yourself.
Right? Yeah.
So we could just end it here if we want. But I guess, you know, we're talking about this week's about Minor Threat, the song Straight Edge, which we can touch on a little bit. But more importantly, I guess I'm curious, you know, what is your own personal relationship with the idea of straight edge, which, I got to be honest with you, I still primarily think of straight edge as being funny, even though I semi-ironically identify as straight edge, and I think I am, according to the rule book, straight edge. But I still, you know, it's funny to me, and it's hilarious to me that like people who are obsessed with 7 inches could also be obsessed with this kind of like a religion, basically. But I'm curious, what's your own kind of journey with straight edge or with sobriety or that kind of stuff, as much or a little as you want to go into it?
Oh, for sure. And for what it's worth, I'm kind of an open book regarding these things. There might have been a time where I felt like a little more hesitant about sharing certain details, but part of my journey in general, not just with sobriety, but with like mental health issues that I've struggled with during my life, has really led me to realize that like I wish that I had known people when I was younger who spoke more openly about these things, and that has made me really feel that I want to be, as an individual, committed to speaking openly about it, even when it's stuff that's a little bit weird or awkward for me. But yeah, to start, I'll say that firstly, I'm kind of on the same page with you in that as much as the straight edge is something that I think is like genuinely important and means a lot to me, and I definitely do identify openly as straight edge, I do also think that it's extremely funny. And for what it's worth, I think that is basically everything in terms of like arts and culture and subcultural movements that I hold dear and think are important, I also kind of think are funny. And I mean, maybe that's just the way that my brain works, that I have like, I think that this is something that you and I have in common, but like, I do have a hard time finding things that I can look at and just be like, there's nothing about this that is like funny or embarrassing to me. There's almost always something, even if it is just like contextually, that makes things a little bit funny. And certainly there tends to be more things that are funny the more seriously that people take something. And straight edge is obviously a movement that has a long history of being taken like painfully seriously by a lot of people, and most specifically by a lot of like white cishet adolescent people who, you know, are maybe one of the most disgustingly self-serious groups of people just in general, because they don't have to humble themselves as much in society, and I think don't learn until later in life how to humble themselves. So that leads to, you know, there being a lot that is like very, very funny and performative and over the top about straight edge. That all being said, kind of my relationship to it at this point in time, and I always struggle to find the right way to describe it, which is one of the reasons maybe that I appreciate the existence of the term straight edge, but I have been someone who abstains from consuming drugs and alcohol in some capacity for a very, very long time. I mean, like, since my teenage years, I've always had complicated feelings about drugs and alcohol. And there were times where I was experimenting quite a lot with them. I often joke that despite being someone who does not really touch anything now, that I feel like I probably have experimented a lot more widely with that sort of stuff than most people I know who like still drink and use drugs. And I grew up around a lot of people who, you know, used alcohol and lots of different kinds of drugs to varying degrees of being safe for them or not, I guess. Yeah. And I mean, that's something I want to make really, really clear in all of this too, is that like, I definitely am not someone who comes from a like even slightly puritanical background in terms of drug and alcohol use. I think I was exposed to a lot of that stuff in ways that in hindsight seem to me pretty jarring and abrupt from a pretty young age. And that has, you know, informed a lot of my beliefs, but not in a way that feels hateful to me. I'm very, very passionate about harm reduction and about working with people that do struggle with addiction. And I just have come to the conclusion that I think that a huge blind spot that a lot of people, in terms of harm reduction and in terms of their relationship to sociopolitics and subculture in general, a huge blind spot that people have does concern the way that our society feels about drugs and alcohol. And that, I think, is the ultimate impetus for why, although I have abstained from the use of drugs and alcohol for longer than I have claimed edge, that's the ultimate impetus for, I think, why I started to formally, quote unquote, claim edge and I guess talk more openly about the fact that that was a choice that I'd made. The realization that we live in a society that is, to my mind, fundamentally pro-drug and alcohol consumption means that I think that we need people who are a balancing voice to that. It's healthy as a society to have opposing voices on any topic. And I think that when it comes to the consumption of drugs and alcohol, for a lot of people, myself included, when they are young, it may be the case that the only role models they have for not consuming drugs and alcohol are intrinsically really conservative. whether it's in a political way or a religious way. And that's kind of why I came to view the idea of straight edge as being such a, as funny and goofy as it can be at times, such a powerful social idea, because I think that having a vision of trying to choose a, like, call it what you will, like healthy, clean cut, whatever, a positive lifestyle in that choice that isn't framed in context of a bunch of intrinsically harmful and deeply conservative beliefs. And as an aside, I have no illusions about the fact that obviously a lot of manifestations of the straight edge movement do have a whole lot of deeply harmful, reductive, and intrinsically conservative beliefs associated with them. But I think that, like, at its origin, the idea of recontextualizing the idea of sobriety or temperance as something that can be progressive and radical and anti-authoritarian rather than conservative is important, because I think that it is a much more plausible way to do harm reduction outreach and have valuable discussions about the safety of drug and alcohol consumption with young people. Because I really imagine that I'm not exactly the only person out there who, when, you got to have a person who was struggling with addiction, or a police officer or whoever comes into your high school class to talk to you about why you shouldn't do drugs and alcohol. Do drugs.
Right.
Do drugs. Yeah, do drugs and drink alcohol. I really imagine I'm not the only person for whom that stuff didn't resonate. And if anything, made me want to do those things more. You know? As a young person, I definitely
made you want to do
there's
alcohol.
Not a chance that I was going to be convinced by a police officer to not do something. And I think that there's a need for people that just are maybe doing something, for lack of a better way to put it, cool, who can promote positive values.
Right.
And so I think that if everything that is silly about straight edge, if you can have a sick, sporty fashion and a cool watch that feels like you're a part of a club that you get to wear, and even just the use of words that you feel like other people don't get to use, describing yourself and stuff. Not that there are other examples of that young white men struggling with aggression really want to use. But yeah, I mean, that sense of being able to feel included in something that is anti-authoritarian and countercultural and rebellious in some way, but that also promotes behaviors that are actually conducive to having good physical and mental health, is, I think, that our society really desperately needs.
So you were kind of saying that you had a period where you kind of used drugs and did alcohol, and then you quit, but then it took a while for you to actually claim edge.
Yeah.
And so I guess, were you hesitant? I guess what I want to ask next is I know that the whole time you were involved with going to shows and stuff, did you, when you were still drinking or doing drugs, how did you feel about straight edge then? And did you think it was corny? Because I remember thinking it was corny, and then especially laughing at it when I was I've obviously taken many pictures of myself holding up a straight edge record while drinking a beer or whatever, just kind of that kind of dumb thing. But yeah, what was your I mean, did you like Minor Threat and stuff while you were still drinking and doing drugs?
Yeah, no, I personally, I always did, and I think that for me, I think that I was lucky in that my introduction proper to the idea of straight edge was through not Minor Threat actually, but Fugazi, when I was 12. And so I think that they, as much as they were a bit more preachy than Minor Threat, maybe more than a bit, they've always had a level of nuance in terms of the way that they talk about straight edge that was maybe lost in some of the later movement, for better or for worse. And so I only really later on learned about some of the, I guess, cornier manifestations of straight edge. And I think because of that, I was always able to like separate in my mind that I was like, this is the thing that maybe has value and there are aspects of it that are cool, even though some people interpret it in a way that's corny.
Right. Okay.
And I think that beyond that, I mentioned that I feel like I've always had a difficult relationship with drugs and alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
And that I think that I've never really had any illusions in my life about how harmful those things can be. You know, having a lot of family that come from a working class background in areas that are really, really affected with like generational issues with addiction. That's something that I've always been cognizant of from a young age. And like, I knew that these things could be deeply harmful to people. I guess I just, up until a certain age, didn't really think or know that there was like an alternative lifestyle choice that wasn't, and I alluded to, you know, maybe more conservative icons for temperance and sobriety earlier, but like, I didn't really realize that there was a alternate lifestyle choice that didn't involve like going to seminary school and becoming a priest or something, you know?
Right.
Or being a person who struggled with addiction and was in recovery and abstaining for those reasons. Like, I just didn't really have a whole lot of models for people who were abstaining for more socio-political reasons, and especially socio-political reasons that were progressive in nature. So I think that for me as a young person, I was always kind of caught between these two simultaneous realizations of like knowing that drugs and alcohol play a really destructive role in society, and seeing ways that like even within my own household that they played a significant role in things that were like traumatic for me growing up, and that I think play a really, really big part in the things that I struggle the most with as an adult. And I knew that that was the case. I knew that these things were harmful and were hurting people around me and hurting me too. But I guess I just didn't feel like there was another path that wasn't intrinsically tied up in becoming something that I hated. In terms of, I mean, calling it like becoming a square feels like too reductive and too jokey. But I mean, like, you know, in terms of without accepting a worldview that I found intrinsically disagreeable and too conservative, I didn't feel like there was an option for me there.
I mean, people definitely think that straight edge is square, for sure.
Absolutely. And I mean, that's kind of a funny thing, is that like, I do really think that the way that people view straight edge, even some of the problemata associated with it, and I don't want to just dismiss them in hand, because I mean, I could talk for ages. I have to most of the people that are close to me, and I've written a lot of stuff on these sort of things. There are lots of problems in that movement that require a lot of like careful examination and discussion. So I'm not trying to push away these problems just out of hand, but nevertheless, I do think that a lot of the perception of conservative thought, militancy, apparent lack of nuance in the straight edge movement, a lot of that perception comes from people looking at something and forming opinions about it without really diving into it. Because it's not hard to see from the inception of the movement, but even in its later instances when it is a lot more militant and a lot more hardline, there has always been a lot of like nuanced discussion and disagreement about what straight edge should mean and how people should or shouldn't go about promoting it, even just to the fact that like the within Minor Threat, that was Ian MacKaye and Jeff Nelson seems to be one of their like biggest ongoing disagreements during the relatively short lifespan of that band was concerning how Ian talked about his personal choices in terms of abstaining from drugs and alcohol and sex, and the way that was expressed in the lyrics of the band. And I mean, that even is what gave rise to the whole, like, I'm not trying to preach, I'm just talking about three things that society thinks are so important. Like, that spoken word bit that Ian MacKaye does is actually something that was originally not intended to be a song, but was part of an argument between Ian and Jeff that they didn't know was being recorded, and that they later felt was like a perfect inclusion to kind of deal with this tension between them in terms of what Ian's lyrics were expressing that Jeff took issue with. They were like, well, we can just, the way that you've explained it to Jeff here to be like, you're misunderstanding what I mean, we'll just put that in the song.
Right.
And I think that, like, that, I mean, in addition to just being like a cool tidbit for music nerds to bring up, is, I think, something that speaks kind of powerfully to the movement as a whole, in the sense that, like, it's not monolithic. People have lots of different viewpoints about it, and a lot of the people who, even within their lyrics, may sound like they have really black and white, even extremist views about these things, if you actually get involved with a conversation with them, you'll maybe realize that there's more to it for them than what you might see on the surface. And I really do encourage people to be open to having those conversations. And I mean that for people on both sides of this discussion, people who maybe are straight edge or otherwise abstain from drug and alcohol use, as well as people who use drugs and alcohol. Like, you know, be open to conversations about these things, especially in consideration of the fact that, like I keep saying, you know, I believe that we live in, like, an intrinsically alcoholic society, an intrinsically pro-drug society, even though it seems on a surface level like we don't. You know, people will be quick to say, like, oh, you know, what about the war on drugs? What about prohibition? Things like this. But when you really dig into the history of a lot of this stuff, I think the reason that we even have a conception, for example, that prohibition was something that was just, like, widely reviled by the public and was hated by everybody, when that's not at all actually true, and it was actually quite a popular sentiment at the time, and that's why the US government democratically adopted it. You know, a lot of our preconceived notions about the role of sobriety and temperance in society are influenced and biased by the fact that we live in a society that has, for a very long time, as a colonial society, actively benefited from the interplay of the role that drugs and alcohol have in our society with modes of oppression and systems of hierarchy, specifically in regards to class and race, but also gender and sex. And I think that, again, you know, on both sides of the discussion, whether you do consume drugs and alcohol or you don't, being open to examining the fact that, to me, rather unambiguously, our society has a bias in favor of people continuing to support alcohol and drug industries and be reliant on them, regardless of what consumptive choices you make after having those discussions. Having them is the important part. And just being willing to, like, step back and reconsider something that is normalized to the degree that drugs and alcohol are in our society is always going to be valuable. Anytime something that is so normalized to the point that we don't question the role that it plays or what it means to us or other people around us, anytime something is that severely normalized, it's probably worth assuming that it's not something that is requisite to being alive, like drinking water or breathing.
Right.
It's something that is that normalized.
And just everyone remember, there is a Swatch waiting for you on the other side, too.
Exactly.
So
That's the other thing. You know, not to come over to the dark side. We have cookies about it, but like, yeah, we do. There's cool shit that you get to do and say if you come over to our side.
All right. Well, so I mean, Marsden is constantly getting banned on Twitter, so who knows where you'd find him for those open DMs? But obviously, if you're in the Discord, I mean, Marsden's he's just fucking everywhere. So Marsden would love to talk to you, maybe even debate. You can have a private debate with Marsden and yell at him for all the stuff he just said. But thank you so much, Marsden, for
send you back 2,000 words.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much for sharing some of your words with us and coming on the show. And we love having you here. And we're going to talk about merch with you next week as well, the return of the merch pundit. So
looking very much forward to it.
So that's Straight Edge by Minor Threat. But before we go, we have another new segment to close out the show, and that is the Complaint Department. So I'm just going to go ahead and play the Complaint Department theme song that I made. Here we go.
The Complaint Department. 155 Podcast.
The Complaint Department. 155 Podcast.
The Complaint Department. 155 Podcast.
So that's the themes that I made for.
It's beautiful. It's truly gorgeous.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you have a complaint about the show, feel free to send it in to complaints@155pod.com. And we'll play it. We might play it on the air. I mean, we'll see. So far, there's very few complaints about the show ever, and I assume it will stay that way as we continue to talk about Straight Edge all month and everything else we talk about. But this week's complaint comes from Toes EXE, and she has a complaint, I think specifically for Sam, actually.
That doesn't sound right.
So, let's check out the Complaint Department inaugural complaint. Here we go.
All right, I'm at work, so don't mind the background sounds of the warehouse. Complaint that I have for the podcast. You guys don't do as many cool publicity stunts as you used to. You know, there was a time at which Sam sent a bunch of people pictures of his sloppy hog, and I just don't. I want to know what happened to that Sam. What happened to that Josiah? No, we want to see more pictures of stuff you guys don't want to show us. Anyway, really love the podcast. Keep up the good work, guys, and good luck for when they run out of punk songs.
No one's asked what's going to happen when we run out of punk songs the way we used to get asked that around Blink songs, but it's a good question.
Thank you for submitting the question, Veronica, aka Toes EXE. I mean, it is. For those who don't know, that is true. Sam did literally send. I mean, I know that there's
literally
there's some sort of gray area about the picture, but you did. I mean, you sent a dick pic to people who wanted it. They opted in.
It sounds like a hint of dick pic. It's like the hint of lime chip, where you're like, oh, is that a dick? Maybe.
Yeah, but those hint of lime chips are way too limey, and everyone knows it. I mean,
that picture was maybe way too dicky.
I mean,
but this was part of the Twitch thing. It was a consensual sharing of images between adults who wanted to see hog.
So I guess the complaint was specifically about, more generally, I think, what
more
I do.
Stunts.
Sincerely, what I do think is that it gets hot. We kind of paint ourselves into a corner where we do something that's so fun and exciting, and then it's tempting to do it again. But I like the idea of just continually changing everything. Although you are going to be listening to that Crying Baby auto-tune for the entire year at least. So
yeah, some consistency around which we can do new and exciting, troubling behaviors.
But I mean, do you think you'll ever send a dick pic again?
Absolutely not. That's a real height of the pandemic, doing things that I immediately know are bad, kind of shit.
How about Hole?
Oh yeah, sure. No one's seen Hole yet, so maybe when we get into sort of year 4 of the pandemic and we're back on Twitch, I can see it coming up.